everybody, my name is Adam Pratt. I am the founder and owner of Game Good Arcade here in West Valley City, Utah at the Valley Fair Mall. And today is June 8th, 2016, and that means we are celebrating 8 years in business, having opened on June 8th, 2008. Now, it's typical that you'll hear of the long journey and all of that, but really, truly am grateful for all of your support over these past 8 years. When I started, a lot of people in the industry thought I was absolutely crazy for starting up an arcade that doesn't have any ticket redemption games or other attractions that are well known to be a part of an arcade. Just doing a typical video arcade did seem a little bit crazy, and I'm glad we've been able to prove everybody wrong that doubted us in that regard. And that's due to your support. We really couldn't have made it this far without our customers, and so really just wanted to thank you for that. So I'm going to give you a tour of the arcade as it is today. Of course, if you were there when we opened at our first location in 2008, you know, it was on the outside of the mall. Almost nobody knew that we were there. It was a bit difficult to survive that period, and then we moved into the mall at another spot that also doesn't exist anymore, just as the first spot doesn't. So this is our third location, and we've jammed it full of games, and plenty of video games, a few pinball machines, and a few other interesting items. But really happy and proud to provide something that's a traditional video arcade and showing that it can work out. You've probably heard the term arcades are dead, but as we've seen over the past 8 years, that doesn't seem to be the case, at least around here. And of course there are many other arcades out there that have opened, and otherwise you wouldn't have brand new games like the one standing behind me. But either way, we're going to continue to try and provide the best in arcade entertainment for you out here, and just keep on rolling, and who knows what the future will hold, but we'll see. We'll get there. But let's get on the tour.
Starting outside here with our nice, awesome sign, and we have changed a few things up front. I got this pretty cool banner from Alpha Graphics, and just some of the artwork promoting a few of our interesting games. SkyCurser prototype. Here's one of the areas we've relented on a little bit, a duck catcher crane machine here right up front. The Spruce Lee cabinet, trying to get Street Fighter IV working in it. Had Polestar in it the other day. And a few more redemption-like pieces, none of it tickets though. This one's going to be gone soon, so I won't focus on that. Somebody just won an iPad out of this the other day, so yeah, you can win there. But for the part that we care the most about, video games, right up front here, Allied Tank Attack, a motion simulator. The seat moves around, and a unique arcade exclusive game. And Aliens Armageddon, this is one we added later last year, so it wasn't here on my last tour video, but for those that enjoyed Terminator Salvation, this was developed by the same company. A lot of the same people worked on it, so it does play in a similar manner to Terminator Salvation. A lot of the same elements, a little more scripted than Terminator was, but if you liked Terminator, it's hard not to like this one. It does use cell shading on the graphics, but it also has 1080p instead of 720p like Terminator had. And a big thing that makes it like Terminator is the guns. They're exactly the same. They don't have the strap with them, the shoulder strap that Terminator had, but it still has the reload function with the by hitting the clip. And of course we have Big Buck Wilds with our unique zombie plus deer marquee. I don't know if they still officially released that. There is a tournament going on with this right now, so if you come here and play the game, you have to play, I think, something like 50 times. You can become eligible to compete in the Worldwide Championships later this year, and they have, I think, a prize pool of over $100,000, so definitely could be worth your time to get on that. And then one piece that we brought in at the end of last year as well Intended for it to be here at Comic-Con, Salt Lake Comic-Con, but it was damaged in shipping. Took a little while to get fixed. Jurassic Park 3 by Konami. So figured why not have 2 Jurassic Park games. This one is a bit different than the other Jurassic Park titles, not as well known. So speaking of Jurassic Park 3, let's jump over to our Jurassic Park arcade game that we did add earlier last year. It was in last year's tour. And it being Wednesday and our anniversary, we're doing this half-off Wednesday again. So only 2 tokens to play instead of 4 just today. But a great Lycan game that's done very well, also by the same company that did the Aliens Armageddon over there. And let's see, we got our pinball machines here. So Star Trek Premium Pinball and Indiana Jones still. So I am looking to replace this one, so if anybody out there is interested, we want to have a different pinball machine to take its place. Probably be fine in a home at this point, but we've kept it in great condition. Sorry for the sales pitch there. It's still a fun game while we have it, so come in and check it out. And got the LED infused Star Trek Premium there. ReRave, our signature music game that we've had since 2012. ReRave Plus, of course, so it's an update. Blazing Angels, this one's always popular. People love this one. We've had this one since we opened, so still going on strong since then. SkyCurser, this is one that we added near the end of last year. It is a scrolling shooter, so we're waiting on some updates so that we can have level 3 of this one. At the moment it only has levels 1 and 2, but as a beta test, gives you a chance to offer some feedback, which we can pass along to the developers. And the final version will have online leaderboards as well as 6 levels to play from, or choose from, I should say. Sorry. Asteroids is down at the moment, unfortunately. We'll get that running again. Got the great BattleZone by Atari. Atari no longer owns BattleZone. They sold it to Rebellion Software, who's just released a VR version of the game for the PlayStation VR. But if you want to play the original first-person shooter, there you go. And Pitfall 2, another one that a lot of people associate with Atari, although it was Activision. And this version of the arcade was done by Sega, so you don't come across this game too often, but if you like platform jumping type gaming and exploring ancient ruins, then this is your game. So recently this area has gotten a little bit of a makeover. At the moment we've got our air hockey table to the side. Had a couple of technical issues, but we just added our World Tour Foosball table, which is by the same company that did the air hockey table. And so as this one has lighting and sounds and music, and the ball comes out of there from an elevator, it's a little bit different than other foosball tables you might have come across before. And right next to it we have the awesome Atari Warlords, great for 4 players. So both these games will work for 2 to 4 players. Warlords you can play with 1 as well. But I should mention good old Zaxxon here. Still got this one going. This is the first arcade game I ever had. It's from my own personal collection before bringing it here. And then Ninja Gaiden. Still running strong and tough as nails. And then we've had a lot of people asking about the Act. This is a game we started with. Unfortunately, the JAMA input-output board for this, which is unique and proprietary to it, has died, and so I've had a heck of a time trying to find a solution to get this fixed, but as soon as I do find something, we'll have this one running again. Unfortunately, it just has to sit there sad in the corner for now. NFL Blitz, we've upgraded this to NFL Blitz Gold Edition, or 2000 Gold Edition. So this was the last version of the game that was released, and so it had the most up-to-date rosters. Not really sure why the arcade industry doesn't touch sports games too often anymore. They haven't done a football game like that in a while. Here's one we started with 8 years ago, Namco Classic Collection Volume 2 with Pac-Man, Rally X, Dig Dug, and the arrangement versions, which are a lot of fun, co-op play. And had this one for a few years. Good old X-Men by Konami with its ultra wide screen. Thanks to 2 monitors. Wouldn't mind getting an upgrade for this one to get the monitor looking like one solid screen, but 6-player is a lot of fun. Got our Knights of the Round, which we got last year after our 7th anniversary, but unfortunately the monitor on this one just died last week, so gotta get that one fixed. And always fun, TOKI, good platformer gaming. And over here we have DDR Max 2, which was DDR Extreme. Unfortunately, this one died in January, and I've been having a heck of a time trying to get this one fixed. It's been very difficult. So far, everybody that's looked at it hasn't been able to figure it out, so yeah, we'll get it fixed as soon as we can. Next up is our classic corner, where we've got a lot of the well-known classics together. Such as Donkey Kong by Nintendo, and Manuel's our current record holder on this one. Well, he's not close to a world record yet, he's still working on that one. And Miss Pac-Man by Namco and Bally Midway, and Max is our record holder there. He's always in trying to top that 500,000 score. Crystal Castles by Atari. This is one we've had since we opened 8 years ago, and still happy to have it here. And if you've never given it a shot, it's a lot like Pac-Man, but there's enough differences that make it unique. And we got this one last year, Space Invaders by Bally Midway, and Taito, of course. Great little holographic effect there that the original had, and it's only fitting to get that since we've long had on our wall the Space Invaders anyways, so good to go official with that. And then Centipede, Millipede, Missile Command, Combo Machine. So this was an officially licensed unit and has the original software, just a bigger screen. Still has a trackball to make it all work. So if you enjoy those games, always a bit of fun. Alright, and then backtracking a little bit to our racers, just to go over our little row of racers here. We started off with Batman, and we've had this in this spot for a little while now. And same with Fast and Furious Supercars by Raw Thrills. Both of these games are by Raw Thrills and have a lot of different scores that you can set if you want to come in and set one. You get the best time on a track, or on OutRun 2 by Sega, the excellent driving game where you can experience driving in a Ferrari of sorts, a virtual Ferrari on a virtual beach. And then we've got Chase HQ 2 by Taito. This is a very uncommon game. I'm not sure how many are out there, but I have not come across this anywhere else. But we've had this one since we opened. In fact, this was one game that delayed our opening originally. We were supposed to open on June 1st, but this one came a little late, so we just took the extra time to work on the spot on the store. We were doing a lot of painting back then, so it was this game's fault that we opened when we did. Okay, and then we're gonna get into the 2 polls. Just look at any changes we've had here. Here's our Neo Geo, of course, sporting 4 different games. Here's the awesome Blazing Star, which has plenty of English in it. This cabinet also has Ultimate 11 Soccer, and Metal Slug 1, and King of Fighters 2002. So that's an original Neo Geo control panel. I've had people ask to change that, but that's what the original is. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we've not had this since we opened, but we've had it for quite a while now, and still need to fix that monitor. But always great fun for 4 players, and also great fun for 4 players, perfect for 4-player co-op, is Gauntlet Dark Legacy by Atari Games. I know it's said Midway, but it really was Atari, whatever. But if you love RPGs, then this is a great game to give a spin to, especially with a friend. Here's one we added just recently. Not many people know about it, and I have a video of this on our YouTube channel. Bobble 3. And so it has the same elements that you expect from Bobble as far as entrapping enemies inside of a bubble and then jumping on them to get points. But they added some power-ups and bosses and things like that, which just make it a better game. And of course, better, cutesier graphics, all that sort of stuff by Taito. And then here's one that, yeah, we did have this one when we first opened, CarnEvil. And this has always been a well-loved game, enjoyed game. A bit violent, of course, but if you don't mind shooting zombies and clowns and other evil fiends like that, it's your game. Here's one we added not long ago, Area 51. It's not Site 4, it's the original Area 51. Oddly enough, found it in a Return of the Jedi cabinet by Atari. So I guess if I could come across all those parts, it'd be kind of cool to turn it back into that. Here's one I have had since before opening the arcade. Also part of my personal collection, but I'm going to be getting rid of this one soon, and that's Phoenix. Kind of sort of like a Galaga type shooter, but from back in 1980, 1981. And it was fun. Nobody's really given it a lot of attention before, so we'll just move on. And then Assault by Atari Games and Namco. So this is a tank game, dual joystick, kind of sort of like BattleZone, but instead of it being a first-person view type game, it's an overhead type tank shooter. Pretty cool. It was cutting-edge graphics for the time. Just show you what cutting-edge graphics in 1988 was. NES couldn't do that. And then we got Macross Plus by Ben Presto, and this is a game that's a lot like Raiden, but has these cool cutscenes in it and very smooth gameplay. A few elements that Raiden didn't have, but if you like Raiden, you like Macross, can't really go wrong with that game. And then another RPG, arcade RPG we've had this for a little while, is Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom. A lot of people like the sequel, but this one's still pretty good. And just as a note, as we seem to have some confusion on this, while we don't have 4 coin slots that work on this, it doesn't matter what coin slot you put the coin into. You can play any of the joysticks or characters with that. And that's actually the case for a lot of the games we have, where the coin slot really doesn't matter. Neo Geo it does, and Ninja Turtles it does, but most everything else you don't have to worry about it. And then getting to our last batch of games that are at the Game Grid in 2016, we still have Dariusburst, another Chronicle. We've got one of the very, very few English builds of this game in existence. As far as I'm aware, there's only 7 of them out there. I don't know of any English ones that are out in an arcade, though, other than this one right here. I think the other ones ended up in personal collections, but awesome 4-player game, scrolling shooter style. Definitely give that one a spin if you haven't. Friction, an independently made game, the only game that this company made. They were called Friction Game Studios, but had this since 2011. It's always been a solid game, lots of fun. Give it a spin. And Tekken 5. I think we got this in last year. Can't remember exactly, but you know who Tekken is, right? So I had people asking about Tekken 7, but not necessarily wanting to spend $14,000 for a game that's going to be on game consoles by the end of the year. Then we got Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Get Hype by Capcom, of course. And also had this for a few years, probably need to upgrade the screen there. But this is something we added last year, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat's long been a game that people have asked for, and just came across an opportunity when the Nickelcade in Ogden closed their doors, and so grabbed that. The monitor needs a little work, but otherwise the game plays just fine. We don't have the right marquee for this, but this is Super Street Fighter II Turbo, so considered by some that I've heard to be the best version of Street Fighter II. Of course, there was several versions out there, which the game is famous for going a little overboard on the upgrades without changing the number. But this is always a well-liked game that gets played often, and so, yeah, it's there. And we've got our Pac-Man Battle Royale with a blinking marquee light as opposed to the solid one. Kind of grabs your attention. And as you might recall, this is a unique version of the game. We have a prototype board in here, which I like to call Tournament Edition, as this has always 4 players being played, whether you're playing by yourself or 2, 3, 4 other people, and anybody not controlled by a human player, it's the computer controlling, and it also has slightly different scoring. Not a massive difference, but it is a better game than the version that was released. And then last but not least, a game that we added last year, not long after I did my other tour video, is Star Wars Battle Pod. And we have the actual Battle Pod version. A few other locations in Utah have the flat screen model, but, well, those aren't pods, those are flat screens. So a lot of people confused about this. Just open it here, and then you get to look inside, and it's a Star Wars simulator game, and they're very cool. Today it's on 4 credits. We got it half price for our anniversary. Otherwise it's 2. But it has a wind blower in there as well, so it definitely feels like a Star Wars simulation game. So yeah, and that's also why we have Darth Vader up front here. But yeah, that is the Game Grid as of June 2016. Thank you for watching, and thanks again for any support you've given to the arcade. We hope to keep on growing, add more games, maybe another store, who knows, and we'll see how it goes from there.